Hello and welcome. You're watching Next IAS English and I'm here with an important discussion on India's engagement with the ASEAN nations, a topic that holds immense significance for both current affairs as well as the civil services examination. In today's session, we'll be unpacking the key highlights of the ASEAN-India Summit 2025, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi reaffirmed that the 21st century belongs to India and ASEAN. We'll explore what this means for India's Act East policy, Indo-Pacific strategy and maritime cooperation, and how this summit reflects India's growing role in regional as well as global diplomacy. So let's quickly get started. And the first thing that we are going to talk about is the background of the summit. Now, talking about the background of the summit, the 22nd ASEAN-India Summit was held on 26 October 2025 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Alongside the 47th ASEAN Summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated virtually and also delivered a keynote speech emphasizing that the 21st century belongs to India and ASEAN. The central theme was inclusivity and sustainability, symbolizing a joint aspiration to create a cooperative, prosperous and environmentally responsible Indo-Pacific region. This summit was crucial because it reaffirmed that India's commitment to Asian centrality within the Indo-Pacific architecture, especially when regional dynamics are shifting due to global power rivalries, economic realignments and also security concerns. Moving forward, let's talk about the ASEAN, what exactly this ASEAN is. So ASEAN stands for Association of Southeast Asian Nations, established in 1967 through the Bangkok Declaration by 5 founding countries. The countries were Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore and Thailand. Over time, it expanded to 10 member countries, and in 2025, Timor-Leste officially joined as the 11th member, reflecting ASEAN's inclusivity. The headquarters of ASEAN is in Jakarta, Indonesia, and its motto is one vision, one identity, and one community, which reflects that the group's goal of regional unity, stability and also cooperation. ASEAN today represents over 650 million people and a combined GDP exceeding $3.6 trillion, making it one of the most dynamic economic blocs globally. For India, ASEAN serves as a strategic bridge which connects South Asia with East Asia and the wider Indo-Pacific region. It lies at the heart of India's Act East policy, which also focuses on enhancing connectivity, trade and security partnerships. Now, moving forward, let's talk about the India-ASEAN relations historical evolution. Now let's look at the historical revolution. See, India's partnership with ASEAN has evolved in a structured, progressive manner. So looking at 1992, it was a secretarial dialogue partner, the initial stage of engagement. Then in 1996, it was full dialogue partner, and then in 2002, it was regular annual summits that began, signaling institutionalized interaction. 2012 upgraded to strategic partnership, and then 2022 further elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership, and then lastly 2025 the focus shifted towards maritime cooperation. And this gradual evolution reflects India's growing importance in the Southeast Asia and ASEAN's recognition of India as a vital development and security partner. The partnership today covers multiple pillars like political, security, economic, socio-cultural and also people-to-people cooperation, making it one of India's most successful regional engagements. Moving forward, let's talk about the key highlights of the 2025 summit. Let's talk about that. At the 22nd Asian India Summit, Prime Minister Modi delivered a powerful virtual address. He reaffirmed that the partnership is built on trust and shared prosperity and also mutual respect. The summit's theme was inclusivity and sustainability, which was aligned perfectly with India's global vision of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future. A key moment was the formal inclusion of Timor-Leste as ASEAN's 11th member, signaling regional expansion and inclusiveness. Decisions revolved around four major areas. The four major areas were deepening maritime security and cooperation. Second, enhancing connectivity, both physical as well as digital connectivity. Third was promoting green growth and renewable energy. And fourth, strengthening people-to-people as well as cultural ties. Moving forward, let's talk about major announcements by India. Now, what were the major announcements by India? Let's have a look at that. India made several landmark announcements that gave tangible direction to the partnership. The first was 2026 declared as the ASEAN-India Year of Maritime Cooperation. So this happened. See, this will focus on naval coordination, maritime heritage, blue economy and disaster relief operations, aligning with India's SAGAR, which is security and growth for all in the region vision. Then second, it was the review of AITIGA, Asian India Trade in Goods Agreement. Now, India sought to make the 2010 Trade Pact more balanced, reduce non-tariff barriers and integrate digital as well as sustainable trade practices. The third was Asian India Plan of Action 2026 to 2030. Now, this roadmap identifies new sectors such as education, innovation and green technology for joint collaboration sort of stuff. Then the fourth is Center for Southeast Asian Studies at the Nalanda University. Now, this initiative revives ancient civilizational linkages and promotes research and academic exchange between India as well as Asian nations. Now, training 400 Asian professionals in renewable energy. Now, this capacity building effort will support Asians' transition towards clean and sustainable energy systems. Then lastly, it was a joint statement on sustainable tourism. So this aimed at enhancing tourism cooperation, heritage preservation and promoting responsible travel between India and the Asian nations. Now, together these steps showcase India's balanced approach combining economic, strategic, environmental and cultural diplomacy also. Moving forward, let's talk about maritime cooperation, the core agenda. Now, we've been talking that the maritime cooperation was the core agenda. So, maritime cooperation was the central pillar of the 2025 summit. Nearly 90% of India's trade by volume passes through the sea routes and which are adjacent to the ocean, making maritime security and freedom of navigation crucial. The declaration of 2026 as the Year of Maritime Cooperation highlights that shared priorities in maritime security and defense collaboration. Then blue economy, emphasizing sustainable ocean resource use. Then HADR, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief in times of natural disasters. Freedom of navigation and rule of law in the Indo-Pacific. So, India also proposed certain things. So, there was the proposal for second Asian India maritime exercise to strengthen the naval interoperability. A maritime heritage festival was also proposed in Lothal, Gujarat, combining India's ancient maritime history with modern maritime diplomacy. This focus reflects India's aspiration to act as a net security provider and also a promoter of a rules-based maritime order in the Indo-Pacific. Moving forward, let's talk about economic cooperation and connectivity. Now, ASEAN is India's fourth largest trading partner, with total trade reaching around $131 billion in 2024-2025. However, India faces a persistent trade deficit, making the review of AITIGA a strategic necessity. Connectivity projects form the physical backbone of this partnership. Now, India-Myanmar, India-Myanmar Thailand Highway, it is also an important project. Then Kaladan Multimodal project, This was also for sea and river connectivity via Myanmar. The summit also focused on the supply chain resilience. So building supply chain resilience to reduce dependence on any single market. It also focused on promoting digital connectivity, renewable energy and green growth. All of these things have been highlighted here. Now, these initiatives align with India's long-term economic strategy to diversify trade, promote sustainable development and position itself as a key player in regional value chains. Now, moving forward, let's talk about the strategic and geopolitical importance. Now, what is the strategic and geopolitical importance in all this? Let's talk about that. See, strategically, ASEAN lies at the center of the Indo-Pacific, making its stability crucial for regional peace and prosperity. India strongly supports Asian centrality in regional architecture and aligns its Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative IPOI with ASEAN's Outlook on Indo-Pacific AOIP. Now, this alignment also demonstrates that India's Indo-Pacific strategy is inclusive and cooperative, not confrontational. By strengthening defense and maritime ties with ASEAN, India aims to ensure freedom of navigation. So that is what one thing, maritime security and rules-based order, countering unilateral actions in the South China Sea. At the same time, India leverages the soft power diplomacy through Buddhism, cultural heritage and educational exchanges to build goodwill and strengthen its cultural presence across Southeast Asia. Now, moving forward, let's talk about the challenges and the constraints. Now, what are the challenges and the constraints in all this? Despite growing cooperation, several challenges persist. First, implementation gaps in the connectivity projects. Now, many connectivity projects such as the Trilateral Highway are delayed due to logistical and political hurdles. Second is the trade imbalance against India. Now, India's imports from ASEAN outweigh exports, leading to domestic industry concerns. The third is political instability in Myanmar. So, disruptions in Myanmar have actually stalled major India-ASEAN connectivity initiatives. Fourth is ASEAN's internal divisions. Now, member states have been differing approaches to China and the Indo-Pacific affecting unity. And lastly, its resources and coordination challenges. Now, effective follow-up on summit announcements requires more funding, monitoring and institutional coordination. So, yes, and I would like to tell you that for UPSC mains, it is crucial to highlight that while India-ASEAN relations are strong in principle, execution remains the real test. Now, moving forward, let's talk about the way forward. Now, what should be the way forward? To overcome these challenges, India and ASEAN need to focus on several things. First is fast-track connectivity projects. Now, especially through Myanmar to strengthen trade and people movement, it is very important. Then strengthen defense and maritime mechanisms. So, through more joint exercises, information sharing and defense dialogues, it is very important. Then promote education and skill exchanges, university tie-ups and cultural programs are essential. Then encouraging the private sector partnerships in infrastructure, technology and renewable energy projects. And lastly, deepen people-to-people connectivity. It is very important through tourism and youth programs. Now, the emphasis should be on implementation, monitoring progress and ensuring that the cooperation translates into tangible outcomes on the ground. All right, not just talks in the summits. Lastly, let's talk about the conclusion. So, the 2025 ASEAN-India Summit symbolizes a new phase in India's eastward engagement, combining strategic depth with developmental cooperation. By declaring 2026 as the ASEAN-India Year of Maritime Cooperation, India reaffirmed its long-term vision of regional peace and prosperity under the Sagar Doctrine. Now, the summit also showed India's proactive diplomacy, which is balancing power, promoting sustainable development and respecting ASEAN's leadership in regional affairs, which is very, very important. As Prime Minister Modi aptly stated, the 21st century is our century, the century of India and ASEAN. The vision captures the essence of a shared future based on trust, connectivity and cooperation. Exactly the kind of forward-looking perspective UPSC expects aspirant to understand and articulate. Now, here's a very important question for you. Which country has been officially added as the 11th member of the ASEAN? Do tell us in the comment section below. And that is it for today. I will see you in another deep dive video. Until then, bye-bye. Take care.